Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm Dave Lamont. This is the Almost Daily Dave, the show that's almost daily. And I'm Dave. I didn't put a lot of thought into the title. Didn't have to. Hoping to hear from our guest in a few minutes or in a minute or two. In the meantime, there are a couple of things to talk about. And if you see me checking my phone, it's just that there is another SEC football game that's been postponed because of COVID. Not the Gators and their game against Arkansas, who won't have their head coach there because he has the virus. So he will be coaching from a distance if he's even allowed to do that. No, the Georgia-Missouri game, more positive tests in Mizzou. So the tests and then the tracing put Missouri under the limit of players they can have to play a game. 4 games in the SEC this weekend have been PPD'd. Mississippi State, Auburn, Alabama, LSU, which probably wasn't going to be a lot of fun anyway, especially if you're LSU, and the Texas A&M, Tennessee. So the only games in the SEC this weekend are going to be the Gators and Arkansas, Vanderbilt and Kentucky, and South Carolina versus Ole Miss. Now, if you're thinking, Georgia and Missouri, they'll just make it up. What does Lee Corso say? Not so fast, my friend, because you've got a makeup game for Missouri against Vanderbilt December 12th. The Gators already are playing LSU that day, too. And you may end up having to play Missouri and Georgia on December 19th, assuming that Florida wins the SEC East, which I have already assumed. I believe I made that Monday. 7 games for Week 11 for college football have been PPD'd or canceled, PPD being postponed or canceled. Air Force Wyoming is one that comes to mind since I keep an eye on Wyoming these days. You're starting to see college basketball leagues come up with this concept of what I call a baby bubble because it sounds cute, where and the Patriot League has done this, and now the Mountain West looks like they're going to do it too. The baby bubble has, let's say you are, Wyoming again, and you're going to have 2 home games, and those will be your 2 games against that team, and then you'll hit the road, let's say to San Diego State, and you're going to play 2 games in San Diego instead of 1 and 1. So there's the clear advantages and clear disadvantages. If you draw the short straw and you end up playing a really good team in their building twice in 3 days, that's not good for your one-loss record. On the other hand, maybe you get that really good team to come to your building, and whatever little home court advantage you may have, and we're hearing some fans will be allowed. I can tell you that Wyoming is going to put 25% capacity in their building. Texas Tech, and I have a little knowledge on them, are going to put about $4,000 in their building. Don't know about a lot of other schools. So college basketball taking these baby steps with these baby bubbles. Take what you can get. If we didn't learn anything from the NHL and the NBA and Major League Baseball, take what you can get. All right? No complaining. No wondering if we should play at all. You're going to have fits and starts. You're going to have games that probably won't go. The bottom line is somehow, some way, we've got to get a champion crowned in college basketball. Cannot have another year without it. Not only would it be terrible for the sport, it would be a financial disaster for a lot of aspects of college basketball, college sports, television, which is already taking a huge hit. What happened last week at ESPN with hundreds of people being let go, not just like 25 or 50, hundreds of people were let go. All varieties, either people whose contracts aren't being renewed or people who were just outright dropped. It's the same thing. So it's really going to be critical for the money end of this for people to get to a college basketball champion. I think we'll get to a college football champion, and we should get an NFL champion, but even they've got issues. Ben Roethlisberger's on the COVID list. Matthew Stafford for the Lions was on there for a few days, ended up playing. You had the weird thing with the Dolphins coaches, which they managed to do all right without. It's just where we are. And then you had the idiocy at Notre Dame, everybody flooding the field just in temporary insanity. I hope that's all it was. And the irony of getting the reprimand letter from the president of the university, the same guy who went to what is being called the White House massacre, whatever where a lot of people got ill when they did an unmasked event. And now he's telling people do as I say, not as I do. So, welcome to Sports in 2020. Nobody should be surprised by all this insanity, and I'm not. So, it's just, what are you going to do? So anyway, we are going to talk, hopefully, with Len Mattiace, who I've invited in graciously through a dear friend of mine, Paul Newman, who gave me a contact info for Len. And hopefully he will be joining and jumping in very soon. He has a unique story to tell about his experiences with the Masters. And you know what? We've covered it from the economic point of view. My buddy Ray Boone, he gave us a golfing perspective, but this is a perspective that neither they can provide. The weather is cooler there. It looks pretty nice. The course, of course, is going to be immaculate. You had the John Rahm hole-in-one. I wish I could show it to you. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube, because the 16th, the famed par 3 with the water, players try to skip it to get it on the green. Practice round just for giggles. Well, he did a little better than that. And if you haven't seen that, look up on YouTube, John Rahm, R-A-H-M. If you're not familiar with it, you'll be blown away. Even though I'll tell you now that it's a hole-in-one, you still won't believe it. It's a skill level that cannot be replicated. The storylines are clear. You have Bryson DeChambeau with the fear that he's going to overwhelm this golf course. But as Ray pointed out on Monday, Bryson DeChambeau does not rank very highly in putting. And, we love to talk about guys that can blast at 8,550 yards. But if you can't close the deal, what good are you? So we'll find out. I mean, he does have a major championship now. Brooks Koepka could well be in play. Dustin Johnson. These are obvious choices. I picked Justin Thomas. I just think he's a solid overall player. You've got to putt to survive on that course. And, that's the one thing with DeChambeau. Is there somebody else? Colin Morikawa. Remember we talked about him as a future superstar? What happened? Since he won the PGA out in California, he hasn't done anything. Is he a fluke? He sure didn't play like one. But that's what's so cruel about golf. You look at the amount of money that in these individual sports, golf and tennis in particular, you win an event, it seems like you're set for life. Now you've got taxes and you've got to pay your caddy and all this other stuff. But still, you win a couple of times, or you do really, really well, even if you don't win. But you realize how many people try to get to that level and can't? Either because they're unbelievable golfers, but they're not even better than unbelievable. It is a hard hustle. Same with tennis. You look at how good, if you took the number 300th ranked male or female player in the world in tennis and took them down to where you play, they're going to kick everybody's butt. The same thing if you took the number 150th golfer in the world. That guy's coming into your club, and he's going to win. It's such a tiny, tiny difference between them and the guys that are down here who are so close, but not close enough. Same with professional bowling, a sport I know. Why is it there are certain guys who are always winning and other guys who are technically professional bowlers but don't quite qualify to make a lot of events, or maybe they're good on a local level but they can't break through to the world or national level? It's difficult. These are highly skilled men and women in these individual sports, and to make the big bucks and to compete in the big events, it's just a little difference. Is it more practice? Is it more skill? Is it the mental approach? It's all of them. It's unbelievably demanding. Why is it a guy can be a Superman in college football or college basketball and then just be a very average pro or worse? And others who, I'll give you a perfect example of a guy who was never a superstar in college but made it last forever in the NBA, was John Salmons from the University of Miami. I don't think he's one of the great all-time Hurricane basketball players in college, but he had the right skill set, the ability to hone his game to the NBA. He played forever. it's just weird how it works that way sometimes. And then you have superstar college players who have, so-so NBA careers or so-so NFL careers, or get off to slow starts and then become good or not. So I actually need the text because this is, pardon me, this is a piece of the production going on right now. There we go. We're working on getting Len on the program here. We're just making sure that he is able to get through. So, yeah, it's so tiny, these differences that make the great ones. Auto racing is another one that I wonder about. Why is it that some drivers are better than others? It seems like we all know what we're doing in a car, but it's just these little things. Sometimes it's just completely out of your hands. Well, there he is. I am absolutely delighted to bring in a two-time winner on the PGA Tour, the 2003 Masters runner-up, Len Mattiace. Len, how are you?
Dave, I'm doing good, thanks. Good to be with you.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. And again, thanks to our mutual friend Paul for setting this whole thing up. I've had a perspective of somebody who lives in the area talking about the impact of the Masters in November on hospitality. I talked to a buddy of mine who's a teaching pro down here, but you have had the experience. You've walked the fairways. You've shot one of the greatest rounds in the history of Augusta in 2003 to get to a playoff. From the player's perspective, although this obviously the weather and all that's going to be different, what makes this tournament so desired and so special?
I think it is the most special event. I think you would probably call it an intimate major, where you've got the Open Championship, US Open, PGA Championship, and the Masters. And I think the Masters is the most familiar because it's the tournament that always comes back. It's the same course every year. So like all those other majors, they travel around to different courses. Everybody gets to know the Masters. Everybody gets to know Augusta National. Everybody gets to know when you talk about number 12, probably the most famous par 3 all in major history. Everybody knows about Amen Corner and that dog leg. So when everybody's watching that tournament, including pros that aren't in the field, it's recognizable. So it's almost like going visit a friend. And, whether you're sitting down in your family room or whether you have people with you or by yourself or whatever, it's very familiar. And I think that's what makes the Masters the most special, because people can understand, that first tee. I know what that first tee is like because it's the same golf course every year. So I think that's what makes it the most special. Like the 10 handicap or the 20 handicap or even the non-golfer is familiar with what the Masters brings because it's that same golf course every year. So I think that's what makes it the most special. I actually had the privilege of playing the Masters when I was an amateur. And when I was in college, I was on the Walker Cup team, which is the top 10 amateurs in the country, against the Great Britain and Ireland team at the time. And we were invited to play the next year that I was on that team. So I got to stay right at the clubhouse in the top floor of the crow's nest and really enjoy it. I missed the cut that week, but as an amateur, I really got that special feel of what Bobby Jones and Cliff Roberts, brought that whole event, where it was a combination at that time early on of the top amateurs and the top pros coming together to play in a special event.
You mentioned 20 and 10 handicappers. I'm a solid 14 myself, so I can either be the greatest golfer in the world or the worst, and very often on the same hole. What about that course? Yeah. What about that course would an amateur go, ooh, I didn't know that. I didn't realize this. What would really throw somebody about that course that a professional is aware of, but for an amateur perspective, what would be the hardest thing to deal with?
I think literally walking the golf course, it's that hilly. It's an incredibly hilly piece of land. So the first hole, you tee off and you go down and then you go up and the green's on the other side, and number 2 goes all the way down, dogleg left. Number 3 goes uphill. 5 is kind of a cross like that, and just about every hole has hills on it, and some are bigger than not. Like number 10 is this huge downhill down to the left. I mean, I don't know the elevation, but it's incredible from tee all the way down to green. And likewise, 18, 9 and 18 go very steep uphill. Mm-hmm. If you were to walk that course 6 days straight, you know, usually the pros are playing either Monday or Tuesday practice round, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You are absolutely, you know, you're probably walking about 8 miles a day up and down those hills, and you're worn out after about 3 or 4 days. I mean, it's very taxing, and people really don't get that just on TV.
I tell you mentioned 12. How many years has 12 meant something? It certainly did last year. And it seems to have a hand for, and I think it's about the nastiest hole I've ever seen in my life. There's no place to hide on 12. If you're short, you're wet. If you're long, then you could be wet on your next shot if you end up in the bunker. I'm blown away by that hole. I think other than maybe the road hole, maybe the 18th at Pebble, or maybe the one par 3 there, that's about the greatest hole in golf in my mind.
I would say it's a very exacting shot, and what people may not realize is that if you come up short, obviously there's the front bunker, but just to the right of the front bunker, it's a very steep embankment of fairway. So there's no really front fringe. I mean, it's either on the green or it's going to roll all the way back down to the water. So, and when the wind swirls there, which it does, and you get kind of like, if you feel like, oh, it's a little into the wind, or you're not really sure, sometimes when players are hitting, then the wind pushes. And then the green's only about 10 steps deep, you know, where usually greens are about 30 steps deep. This one's only about 10 deep. So you have to, the yardage wise is very exacting. You have the line is very exacting. And, you know, it's not, you don't have to hit too off of a shot to hit it in the back bushes, not to mention a front bunker or a back bunker. So you know, everybody says when that pin's over in the right center, whether it's right front or right back, to go in the middle, go in the middle. Go in the middle. Go left center. You know, it's still a hard shot, but you only have about a 5 or 6 step area if you're going to go for that right side of the green. And the penalty is so great because anything pin high right or short right is water. So and then the drop area, what people may not know is anytime you drop the ball from going in the water, so common areas, right, would be the pond on 15, hit it in the water on 16, hit it in the water on 11 or 12. Anytime you drop the ball, the lies are so tight that now, like for number 12, what are you going to have? A 50-yard shot, a 70-yard shot? You pick the yardage. That's probably harder than the tee shot.
Wow.
You know, because now you have this half wedge, and you're probably into some green. You know, and
what's going on in your head too.
You only have about 8 steps, yeah, and you know that, like, maybe you thin it, maybe you hit it heavy, because you can't you're not going to spin that 70-yard shot with a dead flat green. So you want to hit that thing on the green, 2-putt, and I think Jack Nicklaus actually made a 4 there when he won in '86 on Sunday. I think did he make a 3 or 4? I'm not sure, but
I don't remember.
He escaped the water, and you know, and then he attacked when he could.
Well, you remember what Tiger did last year? He blasted it. He played that hole like it was the U.S. Open, just knock it on the green, which he did, and he got his 2-putt par, and he got the heck out of there after everybody else had these windblown disasters and really wounded themselves.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah.
Big number.
65 on the final day in 2003 put you in that playoff. And I'm dead serious. I watched some of that a couple of days ago. When I realized you and I were going to talk, I went back and looked at some of the highlights of that round. I have to tell you, because and I'm going to the leaderboard and I go, wait a minute. He wasn't even on the very top of the leaderboard until you got to Sunday. Tell me a little bit about what your thought was when you woke up and, you know, okay, I'm doing okay. Going to get a check. You know, this is good. What were you thinking when the day started?
I was about 9th or 10th place going into the final day, so I wasn't stinking. At that point, I was even par for the tournament. The course was playing tough. I think I was 5 back, if I remember right. And I just knew that I had to go out and play a really good round because most likely Jeff Maggart and Mike Weir, they were in the lead group. Most likely they were going to shoot their 2, 3, 4 under, and one of them were going to win. And I was just going to, have a really good finish. And I knew I was playing well, and I knew that I had a certain game plan, like I could attack, like kind of what we're talking about. Number 12, I knew I was going to hit it left center in that green, whether I was 5 under or 5 over, it didn't matter. And I was going to try to attack the par 5s and then some of the shorter par 4s, try and make birdies and, see if I could put together a good score. So what I did was I actually had a very clear plan on what I wanted to do. Now, what I tried to do was actually say, okay, if I had a very, very good round, what would it be? So I actually I visualized in a big way what it was going to be. And it came true. I mean, it came true. I mean, I started par birdie. And then what you're asking about earlier, what people may not realize is holes 4 and 5 are, along with probably 18, are probably the hardest holes on the course. So if you can get by 4 and 5 with pars, you're doing really good. You're like that. Those are like birdies on 2 and 3. So I made those pars. I made those 4-footer and the 6-footer for par, and then was able to birdie 8. So I think I was 3 under at the turn, and right where I wanted to be, 3 under through 9 holes. And then I birdied 10 and parred 11 and parred 12. And then I eagled 13. And then I par 14. Par 14 is good because that's such a tricky green. Birdie 15, birdie 16. So I was just like, hey, I'm going to get out of my own way and go as low as I can. At that point, I was in the zone. I mean, I was like having that round that people would want to put on the wall and say, if I could picture my day at Augusta on Sunday, and it was happening. And par 17. So 18, I ended up making a bogey, which was, that was the bummer of the day. I mean, I played 17 great holes and then 18 bogey to shoot a 65. So if I parred 17 or 18, I would have shot a 64. I would have won Augusta by 1 or 2, and it would have been maybe one of the best final rounds in history to win a major. Like Johnny Miller 63 at Oakmont, it would have probably been right there 64. It would have bettered Jack's 65 when he won in 86.
Yeah, exactly.
So I ended up
a hell of a putt, though. That bogey putt on 18 was not a gimme. Because I watched that, and for folks who don't know, your drive was a little errant. You kind of had to play very defensively from that point on. And you had, what was that, 10 feet or something for a bogey?
About 7 or 8 feet.
Yeah, that was a hell of a putt.
Yeah, I made that, and so that it was good to make that because you certainly wouldn't want to finish with a 6, and then it was just a wait and see, And Mike Weir was the guy that Jeff Maggart, like what you're talking about, he hit it in the water on 12. He had some problems on the front 9. He actually hit a fairway bunker shot that hit the lip and came back and hit him, and he was leading the tournament. That was hole number 3. So you're leading and that happens. So, but he battled back, and then he hit in the water on 12. So Mike Weir had the very, very steady round in that last group, and he ended up making the 7-footer on 18 to tie me. Right. And then we went into a playoff. So Mike won. But it was, it was definitely one of those rounds where people would say I was in the zone, and I was able to take advantage and just stay out of my own way and kind of put it out there and see what happens.
Let me ask, without patrons this year, because you played with them, you know what those roars are like. You've heard them for you. You've been standing over and go, oh, well, I know who got that roar. What do you think it's going to be like for the guys this year to not have that?
It's fair. I think it's going to be more casual, and even though it's the Masters, even though it's a major, even though I think it's the most special major, because like what we said about the most intimate of the bunch, I think it's going to be more casual, like every major has been this year, with no fans, because it's so quiet. You walk out there and you don't walk through tunnels of this week they call them patrons,
Right.
spectators, where it's just more casual, where you're like, you don't have that adrenaline of performing in front of people. We know it means the same. It's a 5-year exemption. You're a Masters champion. It's no one talks about the purse, but the winner will make over $2 million to win. So all the FedEx Cup points, you're probably automatically on the President's Cup team and the Ryder Cup team and all that. So all of that's still the same, but it's definitely a different feeling. Rory McIlroy's talked about that this year, about how he can't get up for the tournaments. It's affected him. And he's honest saying it, because I could see that it's just more casual. And but you gotta, you definitely have to. You can't let that bother your play, because so much is at stake.
What's been missing from him at Augusta? I was talking to my pro friend Monday, and I say that almost every Masters, Rory plays 63 great holes, and there's a 9-hole stretch, front or back, where it's just, he shoots a 40 or a 39 and he takes himself out. And obviously he's as gifted as anybody out there for the last 10 years. What do you think has kept him from winning there?
He's so good. I think, I don't know how many Masters. I'm guessing he's played about 6 Masters. I don't know for sure, but he's so good that, look, it took Sergio a long time to win at the Masters. I mean, not everybody wins their Masters in the first 3 years. So hard to put a finger on it. Like, you have to be playing well going into the, most likely you have to be playing well going in, and then you have to have some things happen, somebody, I don't know. It's hard to put a finger on it, but he's definitely in the top 5, I think, because he hits it so well and he putts it well. I mean, he's definitely in the top 5. You got to think like DeChambeau, because he's bombing it. I mean, DeChambeau's hitting it 50 yards by everybody. And Dustin Johnson's right there. And, I mean, I don't think you can take Tiger out of the mix. A couple other people. I mean, John Rahm. But I think Rory's in that top 5 who best chances to win there.
Can DeChambeau putt well enough to win? Because it does ultimately, I've always heard the cliche, and you would know way better than me, that the Masters just becomes a putting contest. Can DeChambeau handle the flat stick as well as he does the driver?
And he won at Winged Foot. So Winged Foot's greens are crazy, Can he do it again? He obviously showed that he putted very well. So Augusta greens are a little bit more crazy than Winged Foot, but similar, just another step up.
Okay.
And, I would say Augusta and Oakmont are the greens in the United States that really are just like the most crazy, the most undulating, the fastest. But he won Winged Foot, so I think he's the favorite, because he won the last major, and I mean, when you have 70 yards into the first hole, nobody's done that ever. So, hole after hole after hole, if he's 50 yards in front of everybody, that's tough. That's tough to give up. So we'll see how but he will now, he'll feel that pressure, because now he is, he's the last major winner. He won that U.S. Open mid-September.
Mm-hmm.
And, the spotlight's on him now, and see how he handles it.
Do you like what he's doing? Are you okay with the fact that he's 50 yards by everybody? Is that
absolutely? I mean, he's doing stuff. Tiger did stuff that nobody was doing when Tiger came up. Nicklaus was doing. I mean, Nicklaus, right? Bobby Jones said about Jack, he plays a game which I am unfamiliar with. That was Bobby Jones, right? So Jack was doing that. And then Tiger comes along, and Tiger was hitting it 50 by everybody. And, Tiger was hitting pitching wedge and 9-iron in the hole 15 at Augusta when he came along. So DeChambeau has definitely pushed that envelope. Definitely. I mean, long ball hitters have ball speeds of 200 miles per hour, not PGA Tour golfers.
Yeah, I saw that video from yesterday with Nick Faldo's commenting on it. They had that little video.
I didn't see.
A practice shot of him. You mentioned the swing speed at 200. I don't know who shot it. Maybe CBS shot it, but he is on the practice, and they have the little monitor there, and he just takes that crazy swing, and then they shot the monitor, and there's 200. Like, this is the Indy 500 we're talking about, and not a golf swing.
It's incredible, like when players do things that haven't been done before. There's a lot of respect there from other players, because it's like, I haven't done that. And, not only is he doing it, he's winning, like the first 5 events after the virus, that came back, like May and June, he was like top 5, top 3, top 5. Everybody's like, why aren't you winning? All right, why aren't you winning? And then he won the US Open, at Winged Foot, of all places. I mean, the fairways are that tight with dog legs and corners, and the greens are crazy, and he won pretty handedly on Sunday. So he's doing things that people haven't done yet, but in 5 or 10 years, there's going to be a lot more people that are going to have ball speeds of 190.
Going to have to.
Because of DeChambeau. Yeah.
So you mentioned he should be the favorite. So if I gave you $5 and flew you out to Vegas and put you in a sports book to make an advanced bet, would you put the $5 on Bryson? Would you go ahead and pick him to win?
I'd put $50 on Bryson.
I don't have 50. This is a low budget deal.
I don't bet, but I would definitely, because, hole after hole after hole, he's 50 yards in front of everybody. So that makes those second shots, likely to be more closer. He's likely to make more birdies. The bottom line is, you're going to have to shoot roughly 10 to 15 under to win. Rory can do that. Dustin Johnson can do that. Tiger proved that he did that. He did it last time. I think he was 13 under. And, there's about 10 guys that can shoot 10 to 15 under. There's 50 guys that potentially can win. But you're talking about trying to get that 10 to 15 under number. Those guys are definitely in the mix.
Len, I know you do a lot of charity work in the Jacksonville area. Where can people go to learn more about that and maybe help you out?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I have a Len Mattiace Foundation that I've had for now 20 years here in Jacksonville. And primarily, we raise money for the First Tee of North Florida. So it's a great group, of young people that are, learning the game of golf. They're good golfers. They're great kids. The First Tee is a winning organization. So lenmattiace.com, we have information on there for people that want to join in and support and be involved. And then we also have a Stop the Bullying campaign. So we reach kids that are on the golf course, but then the Stop the Bullying campaign is in our city, county, and we promote those, those kindness and inclusion messages to those kids to try and make those arenas a little bit safer and better. Every kid deserves to go into school and have a great environment to learn, and we're trying to change people's lives here in Jacksonville. So we've been doing that now this is our 3rd year, and we're seeing good stuff.
Well, Len, I can't thank you enough. Really appreciate the time just in the communication to set this up and for you to take the time. I know you're busy and probably in demand anytime the Masters comes up, but you've been so gracious. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dave. I can't wait to watch a great major coming up this week.
Yeah, I'm ready. It's about time. It's been too long. You too. Thank you. Len Mattiace, 2003 Masters runner-up a couple of times. He was a champion on the PGA Tour. That will do it for your Almost Daily, Dave. I'll be back on Friday with the Nooner. Thank you.